2 weeks ago in Paris, at Roland Garros, Rafael Nadal claimed his 14th Roland Garros title. This equalled his 22nd tennis major title, taking him two clear of his great rivals Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer, and cementing his claim as the greatest tennis player to have ever held a racket. Personally, I'm very lucky. I've actually managed to share the court with both Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic at the Wimbledon Championships, and these are real players. So hopefully, in this information speech, I'll be able to cast some sort of knowledge and expertise into why Rafa is so good and why I think that playing Rafa on Philippe Chatrier and Roland Garros is the hardest task in which any athlete can really have to take part in within any sport. I will inform as to how dominant Rafa has been and to what has made him so successful and why he has been able to dominate in Paris and on clay and in the world of tennis just quite like he has. Firstly, I will provide information and statistics about his success at this event. Then I will provide information on the challenges and obstacles he has had to overcome in his quest for this greatness he's achieved. And finally, I will give insight and analysis from a tennis standpoint into why he has been able to be so successful. So firstly, let's begin by providing some information on Rafa's tournament. Rafa's match record in Paris is 112-3. This is a 97% win record, greater than Michael Jordan with the Chicago Bulls or the All Blacks, or even Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. He has won 14 of the 17 events he has entered and never lost in the final. He has also won 12 sets to the score of 6-love and never lost in the span of 5 sets. Rafa's record at this point is essentially perfect, and he has the statistics to back it up. Now we understand quite how impressive his records are. Let's move on to discuss the challenges he has had to overcome to achieve these records. Throughout his career, Rafa has been plagued by injuries, partially due to the physical demands of his sport with a year-round schedule, and partly due to his intense physical playing style. He has won Roland Garros with patella tendonitis in his knees, a chronic foot injury stemming from a misplaced bone, a wrist injury which led to a stress fracture when the tournament was over, and a stress fracture within his rib. This is pretty impressive and really speaks to the levels of which Rafa is able to compete at both mentally and physically, even when he's not at his best. So, now we've seen this, how impressive his achievements have been. I will attempt to analyse why he's been so good on clay with my knowledge of tennis, which I would warn is not as good as Rafa's. So Rafa is basically able to do something that's very rare in sports. He's able to combine physical, mental and technical prowess together without having to sacrifice any one of them. If you look at a large amount of professional athletes from a professional athlete standpoint, you will see that some of the players or some of the athletes will have strengths in these areas and others will be weak. Whereas if you look at Rafa, it's very, very difficult to understand where his weaknesses are, even if you're trying to find them. So firstly, he is incredibly fit. It allows him to play long points, move around the court very well, and play day after day for often 5 hours for 2 weeks, which is incredibly impressive. He's also mentally incredibly tough and incredibly strong and stable. He's able to compete for every single point as if it's the same. Doesn't take emotional baggage from one point to the next or carry it through the match even when things aren't going his way. He's also technically as good as anyone you'll see hold a tennis racket. He's able to execute difficult shots over a period of time, which is opponents aren't able to do. He's able to defend and come up with technically very difficult shots from extreme positions on the court, and this really gives him quite the highlight reel. Moving on. To wrap up, it is clear that Rafa has all the ingredients of a great champion. His achievements within the sports, however, should not be taken for granted with how impressive they are, even with how impressive he is. In this speech, I covered his achievements, his adversity, the adversity he's had to overcome to achievement, and the factors which have enabled him to achieve what he has. I think, this blueprint that Rafa has played out when you analyse him from what he does, his input, his technique, his physicality, and the dominance it has led to, really provides a blueprint for every athlete who wants to reach the top of their game, into what they need to aspire to be like. And all of these things considered mean that, in my view, and maybe I'm biased, that Rafael Nadal is the greatest athlete who's ever lived.